It is The Business, brought to you with the compliments of F&B Business Banking. Thanks for joining us today. Let's talk more about crowdfunding. This has become more and more popular as the years have gone by, in fact, you know what? I'm going to just leave it there and let the experts explain it.
Well, it started with crowdsourcing and then a specialization of that being the crowdfunding. Yeah, so let's hand over to them.
Let's welcome onto the show Andrea Morgan and Patrick Schofield, who are co-founders of Thundafund. You can find them at www.Thundafund.com. First of all, welcome to both of you. It's great to have you on The Business today.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, it's awesome to be online with you.
Now, let's talk about crowdfunding. Let's pretend that I've never heard of it before, and I'm interested in what on earth this is all about. Tell me about crowdfunding.
So crowdfunding, effectively, like you said, it's been around for quite a few years. It's just sort of been turbocharged by the internet. So what it allows people to do is put a project online or something they're really interested in doing but are needing to source funds for this. And through this, by placing it online, they allow, small contributions to build up and become the large amount they're searching for, and, allows them to do it individually by themselves. Patrick?
Yeah, in many ways, in South Africa, we've had crowdfunding for years, but, we've had what are called stop files, where people all come together, put in small amounts, and then have a large amount either for themselves or something they want to do. And, basically, as a really simple example, there's a local place in Cape Town called Honest Chocolate, and they wanted to open a chocolate cafe. They already made chocolate, but they wanted to have a cafe. So they said, look, rather than borrowing cash from a bank, they needed 100,000 rand, or rather giving away equities for someone to give them 100,000, they said, why don't we say to people, look, if you give us 250 rand, we'll give you 4 bars of chocolate. If you give us $500, you'll get 8 bars of chocolate, plus you'll come to the opening, plus you'll get 2 free chocolate coffee. $1,000, you get 12 bars of chocolate, and for 5,000 rand, they said you and 13 of your friends would get a chocolate lockdown, which means that basically comes there for 3 hours, the door's locked, they feed you chocolate, and if you walk out alive, you're lucky.
Gotta love it. It's a bit like the guys who are producing movies and of course, trying to break the traditional studio model approach to it and saying, for X amount, we'll give you a credit as a co-producer. So they end up with these lists and lists and lists of hundreds and thousands sometimes of co-producers. But for X plus Y, well, then we'll call you an executive co-producer. And so it goes. Let's talk a little bit about your own crowdfunding site and platform, though, which, of course, is called Thundafund. Where did that start and why?
Well, Thundafund started, and I've been involved in what's called social enterprise for quite a number of years. And Andrea and I met, actually, we met when I was talking about crowdfunding in the very early stage, and we're just looking at getting it going. And the idea was saying, basically there's one of the key issues for starting up new enterprises is how do you access capital? And the other side of it is, when you give people just grant funding straight up, it's often inefficiently spent, and you end up building businesses that don't make sense because it's free cash. Now, what we looked at is said, there was this kind of world of what's called crowdfunding developing, where people are saying, look, we love what you're doing. We want to support new ideas. We want to be micro venture capitalists, let's say. But we don't want to just give cash away. We want it to be accountable. So tell you what, we understand that actually taking out a loan when you're starting to try something new can be quite difficult. So what about a space where you say, in essence, you're pre-selling your idea. So I've got a great idea for a book. I've got a great idea for a movie. I've got a great idea for a new gizmo that's going to turn your hair black in 1 second, or white for that matter. I hope to goodness I don't do that. It would probably involve frying your hair. But anyway, one way or the other. And what crowdfunding allows is you say to people, look, this is my idea. If you like it, back me, and I will deliver you products out the other side. Now, what's really cool about that is, most people, when they launch a new idea in the world, that you've got like a 2 in 10 chance of it actually working. Well, in this way, you actually pre-test your idea. So you say to people, look, it's not just about saying, oh, wow, this is an awesome idea. Yes, I love your idea of a chocolate cafe. You say to them, look, if you like it that much, give me the cash now, and we'll open 3 months' time. The beauty of that is, you know, it's like you have like 50 people you ask and say, oh, it's a fantastic idea for that new book, for that new chocolate cafe, for that new movie you're making. But when the card's on the table, do they actually say, here's my 100 rand to come to your cafe, or here's my 500 rand to actually support you in your movie? That is the proof in the pudding. And that really tests your idea in the wild and allows entrepreneurs to actually get out there and say, look, I've got an idea. If people like it, it'll happen. If people don't like it, it tells me that I shouldn't actually spend my time and money going ahead. So it's a fantastic way to test new ideas into the wild.
If I just look at your stats, I mean, you've successfully funded close on 4 million rands worth of projects, or rather your site has been used to do that. Over 100 projects. Give us a sense of the types of projects that you're seeing coming through your Thundafund.com more so than others.
Okay, so just to break it down quickly, Thundafund is rewards-based and it works on an all-or-nothing model. So how we mean with rewards-based is that Patrick mentioned projects offer items that are project-related, such as retail things, such as CDs, recognition, your name on a website, or experience, such as VIP access. And the all-or-nothing means that you have to hit a specific milestone in order to proceed further and be considered successful. If you don't hit this milestone, proof of concept, and the backers get all the money returned. So with regards to projects, Thundafund has a couple of categories. We have art and photography, music, events, performance, fashion, design, and actually a really fun campaign that actually closed yesterday with Khan Morby of the Poplitone.
Oh, you took my question.
Khan
Yeah, absolutely.
hit 222,000 rand by going solo and asking his fans to make this project happen. We've had movies such as Whiplash and Strop, which was about poaching of rhinos, have also, done 100,000 rand. Smaller items such as Honest Chocolate, and just really cool projects that have come through and have been able to offer their crowd really nice incentives that are, first bids for backers. They get it before anyone else, and it's also first on the market. So it creates quite a hype. I back this campaign, and I'm going to get this as soon as they open.
Andrea and Patrick, you really are challenging traditional models by doing this. I'm going to go back to Khan because it's such a milestone in the music industry. For those folks who don't know, Khan had a very sour end to a relationship with a label manager and a manager, and essentially has gone on his own to release a new album called Salt, and he asked for 200,000 rand from those potential fans. What that has done in the back end, and I'm sure you're aware of this, Andrea and Patrick, is challenge the model that is the record company and the label and the way that traditional music is released. For Khan to be able to raise that money, he can now go and record the album without having to rely on a label, which means ultimately down the line that he earns more money and he can sustain his business as a musician. That must be happening in other industries.
So we ultimately like to say that we're democratizing finance and sort of just ruffling a few feathers, if you will.
I think you're disrupting, never mind democratizing.
Disrupting sounds, we like it, but it also sounds a bit aggressive. But yes, essentially it's just allowing, ideators and entrepreneurs and people who are creative and innovative to retain 100% of their work. So Khan is completely in control of his album and what he wants to put out there and his message because, he raised the funds with his fans. And the same with, movie producers. They can, they're not tied down by the authorities who kind of, want to control their idea or adapt it or move it around. So, yeah, that's a really cool concept of crowdfunding.
What's in it for Thunderfund? How does it work from a revenue split or percentage point of view? How much do you take of the pot?
Okay. Maybe the state I also just mentioned here is Thunder with an A. You sometimes get confused. So Thundafund.com. In case people type in ER.
Got you.
How does it work? We work with a 7% commission on all successfully raised funds and 5% for NGOs. And that's On some international platforms, they do 5 or 7 or 9%, and then add a payment gateway fee, which adds another 4 to 5%, and all of a sudden the project traders are only receiving less than 90% of funds raised. But the decision we made is we thought, most people, and we've had very few issues with it, but most people are quite happy to say, I'll add that extra 5, 10 or 30 rand to the reward or amount of backing that I've set up into the project, which goes towards the payment gateway fee. Right. So if someone backs the project for 500 rand on Thundafund, then it'll be 500 rand plus 13 rand or 15 rand for which goes straight to the credit cards or through to the banks. And so yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, cool. Yeah, sorry.
To have your project online, Thundafund is also free. We don't charge anything there. So you have your point of submission, and we work forward with you to post it online, and then it just comes down to you successfully raising your funds.
Yeah. Let's give that website address out again. I know you were quite adamant about that. It's Thunda, THUNDA.
FUND.com.
Yeah, so Thunda, THUNDA. Now, another interesting side to the project, and poor Daniel's been waiting in the wings. Let's welcome Daniel Shaw. Welcome to the show. Let's talk more about what your involvement is, because there's a whole new section to what Thundafund is actually doing. Tell us about that, Daniel.
Yes, well, something that's in the wings at the moment is what's called Ripple. And in essence, this is going to be Thundafund's crowdfunding platform for non-profits that are centered around cause and activism sort of campaigns. So just through our experience in Thundafund, we noticed a huge need for this sort of platform. And just looking in the current market, we noticed, we think we can do it a little bit. So basically, that's what Ripple is at the moment.
Okay, so will you let us know when you're ready to give us more detail on that? We've got lots of questions about that kind of thing. And of course, these kinds of platforms where you are dealing with not-for-profits that don't necessarily have the big budgets to hire in people and set up huge departments to chase funding, to chase marketing, to chase advertising. I mean, you're a perfect solution to that challenge. So we'd really like to pick up on that discussion.
Well, that's what we're getting started on now, is basically getting a crowd around Ripple before it officially launches.
Yeah.
So if you want to get involved, potentially submit a project, or just get more understanding behind it, you can email daniel@ripple.org.za. So that's Ripple, RIPPLE.
All right, fantastic. It sounds fantastic. The website is there. You can go and have a look and see for yourself. Thundafund.com. That's spelled THUNDAFUND.com. Andrea, Patrick, and Daniel, thanks for your time on the business today. We really appreciate all your input, and I wish you all the best of luck with Ripple. And I hope that you change more people's lives, like Khan Morby and the likes, through amazing crowdfunding. It seems like a great initiative.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
And we've come to the end of the show. Thanks so much for listening today. Lots still to come tomorrow as well.